What's going on, guys? The Crypto Lark here. Today we're going to be talking about Nebulous, the Google of blockchain services. Before we get into all the details of what Nebulous is trying to do and who is involved with it, I'll give a quick shout out, as always, to everyone who has been hitting that like button, and of course everybody who has been subscribing to the channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you hit that button down below to stay up to date with all of the latest in the crypto space. Furthermore, this is of course not professional financial advice. This is just a dude talking about cryptocurrencies on the internet, guys. Let's get into it. Now, Nebulous is a very interesting project. It's a third generation cryptocurrency. They're setting up their own blockchain. That's something important to note here. It's currently an ERC20 token, but their main net will be released very soon, where you can do the switch over from the Ethereum-based token to the Nebulous blockchain-based token. Now, the really exciting thing here, and the thing that most people focus on, is the search engine. And this is a very interesting thing. This is the killer app for the NAS blockchain, the Nebulous blockchain, if you will. Now, what does this do? People are calling it the Google of blockchain. Well, that's a very catchy title, without a doubt. Let's hope that Google, of course, isn't doing the same thing right now, because they have more money than God, we could say, and they'd certainly be able to get ahead. But nevertheless, Nebulous is first to the ranks, so we shall see how they can move forward with this project. But what they really want to do is let you search for things on the blockchain. Now, we are entering a phase of a multi-blockchain data space. There are so many blockchains out there, it's actually getting kind of hard to even keep track of what those blockchains are doing, how many blockchains there are, which projects are on which blockchain, and more blockchains come in all the time. Yeah, of course we have our, perennial favorites like Ethereum and NEM and Neo, but so many more are coming online. We have Icon, which is coming. We have all these newcomers, A-Chain and High Performance Blockchain, and pretty soon we're going to have an X-Chain and a Y-Chain and a Z-Chain and a your mom chain. Holy cow. Gonna be a lot of blockchains out there, guys. They are going to help cut through all the craziness in this space to the extent that you'll be able to search cross-blockchain for information. Things like, well, what about smart contracts? So which smart contracts are deployed on here, or whatever it might be. Now, we're a little ways away from mass blockchain adoption globally, although there is massive interest from business in this. We see a lot of blockchain for business solutions coming out all the time. But I want you to sit back and try to imagine a world where city councils, regional governments, states, territories, they are all using blockchain technology across multiple different blockchains. Different countries will have their preferred blockchains. Now let's also imagine property is going to go on the blockchain. All kinds of real world contracts are going to go on the blockchain. All of these things are going to be searchable. We're potentially going to have thousands of different blockchains, maybe more as the years go on. And this is going to be the center point of all of that. You can come to Nebulous, type in the information, it'll show you what information is where, instead of having to go through each different blockchain, search around. I think this is going to be a very powerful tool for the space. Now, of course, a concern might be, is this too early? Well, perhaps. This might be more of a getting into Google in the 90s situation, where it wasn't quite the hot thing yet, but this has the potential to be the hot thing. Of course, there's also the potential that Nebulous will be the Yahoo, which, hey, Yahoo is still a company and they still do relatively well. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. But that being said, they are no Google. So will Nebulous being the first one be the best one, or will a Google actually come along later? Well, that's something to keep in mind. But some other applications that I think will be very interesting, IoT devices. And so this would actually let an Internet of Things connected device get on, search for relevant information by itself, find that information across blockchains, and connect to that relevant data, which is very interesting. And of course, we're not even accounting for yet the future of the internet itself. Currently, we have multiple projects which are working on completely revolutionizing the way we think of the internet currently. Projects like Nexus, projects like Skycoin, Substratum, right? All of these projects are working on making the internet of the future. And it's all based on blockchain technology. You can really see the scope of where Nebulous is placing itself right in the middle of all this. So it's definitely a very interesting project. Now look, the hype around Nebulous, for as exciting as I make it sound here, has been quite low, to be honest. A few other people have talked about it, but really it seems that the team are mainly focusing on trying to get deliverables out first, talk about it later, which is certainly not a bad way to be. Again, that mainnet is coming very soon. Certainly preferable to see somebody who doesn't really talk about their project because they're too busy making it versus people who talk all day and don't deliver very much, which we do see a lot in this space. Now, this is a multi-part thing here. What we see is, first we have Nebulous Rank. Now, this is a DApp vetting service, so there'll be equivalent of almost a DApp store. You'll be able to check into through Nebulous and see which are the best dApps, for example, the highest rated dApps on the blockchain, of course. We have Nebulous Force. Now this is going to make for flexible blockchain development for basically developers to be able to easily change any project that they've been working on. Now the real benefit behind this is this potentially can stop the forking. And you guys know the forking keeps on happening, and it's not really beneficial. You see what's happening currently with Bitcoin and the massive forking going on over there. It would be nice if we could find a way to find consensus outside of having to fork every time somebody has a different idea. Otherwise, we end up with 500 iterations of Bitcoin and 1,000 iterations of Ethereum in the long run and all these different things. They also have an incentive program. Now this will help, of course, to pay developers in NAS tokens for developing on the blockchain. Again, different projects can be developed here. This is not just about the search engine. They are running a blockchain as well, so you can see other projects being developed utilizing that search engine, of course, but you can develop other projects on the blockchain. It's not just about the search engine. It goes beyond that. So that's pretty cool. If you want to come over and check out some of the white papers, I would highly suggest that you do. There is a technical and a non-technical white paper, depending on how you feel about reading through tech papers, that is, of course, though they both have a lot of interesting information to offer. We will be seeing master nodes coming to Nebulous. Now, there has not been any details yet released about how many NAS you're going to need for a master node, but nevertheless, pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. Now, look, currently the coins are trading around $10 a piece, so if, for example, it was 1,000 NAS tokens, so it's a $10,000 master node. Certainly not the cheapest of the master nodes, but at the same time, imagine this reaches multi-billion-dollar market cap. Could be a pretty good investment as far as a master node is concerned, but depends on what you think this project's going to be able to do in the long run. Now, they're also working on a Lightning Network enabled wallet. What the heck does that mean? That means atomic swaps, baby. That means you can swap your Nebulous tokens for Bitcoin or for NAV coin when they get the Lightning Network implemented, or any other Lightning enabled coin. Nice. And even things like domain name services will be offered as well. So they're doing a lot here. It is a powerful project if they can pull it all off, of course. Now, the team behind the project, Hitters Zhu is the founder. Now, he, of course, was one of the founders of, well, back then, AntShares, currently what we know as Neo, of course. So that is very interesting. And if you look through the rest of the team here, you do have a lot of people with some really great experience. So definitely you have the fame power, but also a great mind at the head of the project. So that is really cool. And of course, he has a lot of connections around the space, particularly in China, of course. I love this quote from Hitters, by the way. Ask not what blockchain can do for you. Ask what you can do for blockchain. Hitters Zhu. I dig it, man. That's cool. That's cool. Now, let's have a look at the roadmap here. The mainnet, as mentioned, is being released really, really soon. So I can imagine we'll probably see a bit of a run on the price before that mainnet does come out. Fairly typical situation in the space. Long term, of course, the end of this year, we're going to have a self-evolution function coming in, which is very interesting as well. There are a lot of different facets to the project. I haven't touched on all of them, but I'm trying to hit on the main points here for you guys to get a really good overview of the project. If you do want to dig in deeper to the details, again, go over there and check out those white papers. Now, the partners for Nebulous, also very interesting. See Gifto and Loopring, of course, two very interesting projects. Loopring has been doing very well recently. So he is involved with all these people. He knows all these people. Hitters, I believe, was an advisor for some of these projects as well. Very interesting, of course, Tencent as well. They do have quite a few projects over at Tencent. Yeah, keep that real. It's a nice name to have on your partners list. But I think they have thousands of different startups that they help fund. Nevertheless, definitely good support to have for your project. Now, currently the market cap $351 million. There's 35.5 million in circulating supply. There'll be a max supply of 100 million coming out, of course, slowly over time. Now, can this be a multi-billion-dollar market cap cryptocurrency? I think the answer is yes. The question is, of course, a time frame. Will the mainnet push it up significantly? Hard to say. Sometimes crypto projects are resilient to good news. Like, hey, really good news. Market goes, we don't like good news. So, will that happen here? Potentially. Is it a bit early in the game for Nebulous? To an extent, yes. To an extent, yes. It's a very valuable project. I think it's going to need a couple years before it really picks up. That's not to say we won't see price action happening in the near future. But I think until we really see people using Nebulous, it's going to take a little while for them to kind of hook into this idea that, hey, I can use this as a blockchain explorer for multi-blockchains to search for different data. And again, it also a lot depends on the adoption of blockchain technology. Currently, globally, even though blockchain is a really exciting thing, and more companies are finding out about it all the time, and we're finding more and more implementations of blockchain technology, it is still a drop in the bucket, tech-wise. So that's something to keep in mind. It is a little bit early days, but like I said, if you could have invested in Google in the 90s, would you have? If you do want to pick yourself up some Nebulous, currently is only trading on a couple of different exchanges, Huobi and Gate.io. Ether Delta, apparently you can grab some on, though the liquidity is very, very low over there. Your best options are Huobi or Gate.io. Now, when this gets listed on some bigger exchanges, I'd probably also expect some price action to follow in that situation. But anyway, there you go. That's where you can get it at now. Get it before it does get listed on a big exchange if you are interested in getting involved in this project. would be a thought of mine. Anyway, guys, I want to know what you think about Nebulous in the comment section down below. Long live the blockchain, and peace out till next time, guys.